friends, and welcome back to my channel. I hope you all had a wonderful new year. In today's video, we're going to do a little bit of cleaning, and I thought I'd show you some of the foods that I prepared for the New Year's celebration. It wasn't anything big, but I thought I'd show you some of the traditional foods that we cook for the holidays. As usual, I have my coffee ready, and I'm going to start off by clearing my countertops, cleaning out my sink, and then we'll get to the cooking. And now I'm going to put away my cookie press, which I did use for Christmas and New Year's. And I just made spritzer cookies, which are those pretty little shaped cookies that are mainly butter, so they're nice and crisp. And if you guys are interested, I may do a quick clips on that. Quick clips are just these short little videos that I do on a certain recipe. You can find them on Let's Get It Done.blog, and you can find them on my YouTube channel. Now I am going to get rid of all of this trash that I have here. We took out the garbage, didn't put a garbage bag in, and this is the result. I put my dishes to wash this morning, and some of the dishes in the dishwasher were still wet. I'm just going to wash these by hand and put them in the dishwasher with the others to dry.
I just can't let you go. Lord knows that I've tried to. You said I was the only one. No one likes being lied to. You made this mess and left me with the pieces. Now I wanna burn all the bridges between us. I can't forget. I've been thinking too much lately.
Now that my sink is empty, I'm just going to wipe it down. And in this bottle, I have a simple homemade cleaning solution, which is just Dawn's white distilled vinegar and water. I mostly like to use this to clean out my sink, especially the food catcher and the grates from my stovetop.
I've been stuck on your memory, but it's not like I need it. And we may have some history, but we don't have to repeat it. You made this mess and left me with the pieces. Now I'm gonna burn all the bridges between us. I can't focus, I can't
crazy, but there's nothing better than seeing a clean sink without watermarks. I don't always dry my sink, but when I do, the result is so satisfying. Now I'm going to take the grates off of my stove and vacuum the sugar that I spilled this morning while making oatmeal. I find that using a little hand vacuum is the easiest way to clean all the crumbs off of your stove top. After vacuuming all of the sugar that I spilled on the stove top, I sprayed it with an all-purpose cleaner to wipe it down. I wiped it down pretty quickly because it wasn't really dirty. I just wanted to wipe off whatever I missed with the vacuum. And if you do have any stuck on food, you may want to let your cleaner sit for a few minutes before you wipe it down so that it would be soft and easy to wipe off. After cleaning my stove top, I always like to spray it with either alcohol or glass cleaner to remove whatever residue is left behind from the previous cleaner. That way I get a nice shine. Now I'm quickly gonna season my chicken for my pastel filling, and this is gonna be seasoned so that I can leave it overnight. I'm just gonna use some adobo and annatto. You can substitute that with some sazon. I will be cooking that tomorrow because now it's time to tend to my pork shoulder. So one of the biggest things that we cook over the holidays is pork shoulder, also known as pernil. And everybody does it very different. I like to make my own little marinade. For my marinade, I put about a tablespoon of adobo, 1 whole packet of sazon, and about 4 teaspoons of garlic paste. You can always use fresh garlic. I usually do, but because my garlic went bad, I had garlic paste, so that is what I used. Then I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of cilantro, 1 teaspoon of onion powder, half a teaspoon of ground black pepper, 2 tablespoons of vegetable oil, and 2 tablespoons of white distilled vinegar. I also add 2 tablespoons of sofrito. Now this is something that a lot of people don't do. A lot of people focus more on the garlic and the adobo and sazon. I like to add sofrito. I find that the sofrito adds so much depth to the flavoring of the pork shoulder. And your basic sofrito consists of cilantro, red bell pepper, green bell pepper, garlic, and onion. And that is like the most basic you can make it. It's the easiest. It's a 1-to-1 ratio. Now, usually you do add other things like small peppers that are called ajíes, or recao, which is another type of herb that is actually hard for me to find up here where I live. So I do the basic and it serves me well. Now I'm going to dissect my pork shoulder. And by dissect, I'm just gonna kind of clean the fat off of the meat, but I'm going to leave the skin attached, if that makes any sense. And I do that simply by pulling the skin and the fat back. And you have to have a really sharp knife to do this. Otherwise, you're not really gonna get anywhere. So I just pull the fat and the skin back, and I kind of ease the knife between the meat and the fat and carve off the fat as I pull. And this is going to give me access to the meat so that I can season it properly all around. Another thing is that you don't want to get rid of the skin. The skin basically insulates the meat. That allows the fat to cook down and drip through the meat and cook it fully so that you get a nice texture where you can just pull the bone out and the whole thing will just fall apart. And And I like to season the meat to make sure I get even more flavoring in there. And don't worry about it being fatty because the fat all goes down to the bottom and you drain that out afterwards. If you're doing a pork shoulder that's 8 pounds or more, you may want to double the marinade recipe from the beginning. I did have to do it again because this was a 9-pound pork shoulder. Now that it is all seasoned, we are going to put it into our oven bag. This is my favorite way to cook the pork shoulder because I'm always going to get very tender pork. It's so simple to cook it in the bag. Put it in the bag, you just grab the ends, use that little zip tie that comes with it, let it sit overnight. I like to marinate mine for 24 to 36 hours before I cook it, and that is just to ensure that the flavor really gets in there. Now that we're all done here, just gonna stick it in the refrigerator to marinate. I'm going to take out the chicken from yesterday and I'm adding 2 tablespoons of achotina to a hot pan so that it can melt down. It basically becomes an oil. It's lard with achote. And I'm going to add my chicken breast to that. Then I'm going to peel and dice 2 small russet potatoes, and I'm going to make sure that I cut them small enough because remember, this is a filling, so we have to put it into the pastel. We don't want it to be too big. Pasteles are a traditional food cooked around the holidays, which are made up of green banana, plantains, potato. Sometimes they add yautía. And you grate all of these ingredients, mix them together, and then you have what is called a masa. People put different fillings into their pasteles. Usually it's pork. I'm going to use chicken because we're having pork already. I'm using potatoes, but sometimes people put garbanzo beans. Some people put raisins, which is one of those things. A lot of people don't like it, but there are people who do. I never put raisins. I never liked raisins in my pastele. Another thing that people don't like are olives, but a lot of people put it in because it does add a good flavor for the filling. I added 1 tablespoon of olives and about 1/4 cup of water. Now we are going to start prepping our masa, and for the masa we're going to need 1 green plantain, some green bananas. I used about 6 or 7 green bananas here, 2 small russet potatoes, and about 1/4 cup of calabaza, also known as kabocha or buttercup squash. And as you see, we have our achotina there, and that we're going to be adding to the masa when it's done. So to peel the green plantain, what I do is I do a line on the back of it and the front of it, and I wedge the knife under the skin and work my way down to the bottom on both the front and back. That way I can just put my thumb under and kind of pinch through to peel it off. And now we're gonna start grating. So we're gonna be using the finest side of our box grater, and that's the side that you would use for nutmeg, garlic, or grating zest from lemons or any citrus fruits. That's gonna be the side that's poking out, the one that is not knuckle friendly, the one that you wanna avoid touching at all times. And there are machines out there. Next time I'm gonna try doing this with the food processor and see if it changes the texture. To get into the mood, I decided to put on some salsa and of course the perfect song for mine. And I sped it up so it's gonna sound weird, but I'm sure if you know the song, you can identify it easily. And as you can see, I recruited some help. That is not my hand, that is my husband's hand. So yeah, I had muscle failure after a few green bananas. I couldn't do anymore, so I asked my husband to finish the job, and he did. I guess that means I'm going to have to start working out more, start doing push-ups again like I used to back in the day, or I might just break out the food processor and see how that goes. Now that all my ingredients are grated and mixed, I'm going to take 1 tablespoon of achotina, melt it, and add it to my mixture. To acquire a deeper color, I'm going to add 1 packet of sazon. At this moment was when I realized that I forgot to grate the squash. So now I'm gonna do that, and I grated about 1/4 cup to 1/2 cup and added that to my mixture. After grating everything, I wasn't too happy with the texture. I wanted something more smooth. So I decided to bring out my food processor and pulse it a few times to see if I can get a smoother consistency. So as you can see here, there's a piece of potato and a piece of squash, and I'm just going to pulse that through the food processor a few times to see if I can get a smoother consistency. After a few pulses, I found that it was much smoother. So now I'm wondering if I should have done it in the food processor to begin with. Have any friends who have made pasteles before that are watching, please let me know what ratios do you use for the pasteles. Do you use more green bananas? Also, do you use any special machine? Do you just use a food processor? Or do you grate it by hand the old school way? Now we're moving on to our pork shoulder, which has marinated in the refrigerator for 36 hours. What I like to do is tie the excess part of the bag so that it doesn't touch the top of the oven. I am also going to be setting my oven to roast at 350 for 4 hours. When using the oven bag, you're going to want to snip some small holes at the top because you're going to produce a lot of steam from the liquid and the fat that is inside. And building up that pressure, you want to let that steam escape. And here is how my pork looks after shredding it up. All I did was remove the bag from the pan, hold the corner over a grease separator. Then I snip the corner to remove all of the liquid. Then I put the bag back into the pan and cut it open to remove the meat. After removing the meat from the bag, I let it cool down. Then I threw on some gloves, removed the bones, the skin, and I separated all of the meat from the fat and shredded it by hand. Now that our pasteles are done, I'm going to unwrap them. So we let these boil for an hour to cook all the way through, and we really enjoyed them. I was only able to get 6 of them from the batch that I made, so maybe next time I'll do more green bananas and see how many more I can get from that. Now, if anybody has any good recipes out there and any good fillings, please let me know. I would love to try different recipes and different fillings. I will be making more of these, storing them in my freezer for the next time. Thank you guys for watching this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And as I said, let me know if you have another recipe. Thank you guys. Bye.